Hey guys, welcome to the Movie Reviewers 100. I'm ScottyBoy292, and you may know me from The Real DVD Watchers and also my own channel. I'm doing the guest review today, which is Sunday, and I'm going to be reviewing a Quentin Tarantino movie because it's Tarantino week, and I've chosen my favourite Tarantino film, also one of my favourite films of all time. It is Kill Bill, from 2003/2004. You probably already know that the movie itself was released as 2 volumes, even though I think, pretty much most people consider it to be one film, which I do as well. It is one single film rather than 2 separate ones. It was originally intended to be one film, but because it was so long, it come up to about like 4 hours long. They split it into 2 volumes. And the film itself is basically a revenge film starring Uma Thurman as the bride, and it's also like a homage to a lot of like earlier film genres, so like Hong Kong martial arts, exploitation films, and in particular there's a lot of sort of spaghetti western homages to it, particularly in like the music and the score. The story of the film, which I'll probably go into, it's basically, like I said, about a character called the Bride, played by Uma Thurman, and she's a former assassin who belonged to a band of assassins called the Deadly Vipers, who are led by Bill, who's played by David Carradine, who sadly passed away last year. But on the day of the bride's wedding, hence why she's called the Bride, she's attacked by Bill and his assassins, who arrive at the El Paso wedding chapel and massacre everyone at the chapel and leave the bride for dead, also supposedly killing her baby. And she wakes up 4 years later in hospital and decides to go out and seek revenge on the people that wronged her. So, like I said, the movie is a revenge film, but it's also done in kind of a non-linear way, so you don't see the movie in the way the events actually occurred. It is told out of sequence, but that's one of the best parts of the film, I think. I love how the narrative of the story and how it's told. You also have a narration by Uma Thurman as the bride, which is also another kind of just one of the many things that add to the style of this movie. And the detail in this film is one of the things I love so much as well. There's so much detail in this movie. I mean, even in like the first shot of the film, when you see Bill standing over the bride's body, and he kind of goes to dab her face with his handkerchief or whatever, and the way that Tarantino's directed it is, as soon as he starts dabbing her face, you instantly know it's Bill because it's got Bill written on his handkerchief. But there's loads of things like that. I mean, just some of the tiniest details that make this film so good, like the I think it's like the sheriff that goes to investigate the massacre. In the first volume, he's driving towards the chapel, and you just see this like line of sunglasses on the front of his car, and it's just brilliant. I just love the tiny little details like that. Another one, one of my favourite scenes actually, which I wanted to talk about. My favourite scene in the entire film. The film itself, I should say, is split into chapters. And my favourite chapter in the whole, in both of the volumes, is The Man from Okinawa, which is when the bride travels to Okinawa, to Japan, to obtain a sword from Hattori Hanzo, who's played by Sonny Chiba in this movie. And the reason I love the scene is it's just so kind of, it's got this really relaxed, chilled out quality to it. The first volume, which is why I think a lot of people kind of prefer the first volume, is it is very action oriented, and it's got lots of violence and lots of big action scenes in it, whereas the chapter The Man from Okinawa is really kind of chilled out and more slow paced, and it's more to do with kind of the beauty of like I guess kind of the samurai sword and stuff, because she goes to get this sword, and it's just, I love that scene. I think it's so good when she first goes into this I guess it's like a bar where Hattori Hanzo is kind of working, and just kind of the dialogue between Sonny Chiba and Uma Thurman, and also this other guy who works there. It's just one of the best scenes in the film. But anyway, when she goes in, I think one of the first words that she says in Japanese is like domo, and it's also the last word that she says at the end of the chapter, which I think is, like I said, another really cool touch to the movie. But yeah, I won't go too much into the plot of the film, because it's one of those films that's really great to kind of watch, and there are kind of some twists and things in it which I think it's good not to know. And it is, I could talk about this movie for hours and hours and hours, but I'm going to keep this review really short. I'm just going to say, go out and watch this movie. incredible. It is the best Tarantino movie in my opinion, and I'm praying that, like I said, they'll release a combined version of the movie on Blu-ray and DVD, and also that Tarantino does like he says and makes volumes 3 and 4, which I think would be amazing. So.